I'm back at you. Another video. Sunday morning. It's cold out here. I'm out in these Atlanta streets. The ATL. So I got a question the other day. Someone wanted to know how do you deal with situations when your loved ones die? Your friends, family, people that you care about. How do you handle death in your family? Your friends, they passed away. Maybe they passed away young. Maybe they passed away old. Maybe they got sick and died. That's what usually happens. People get sick and die. That's what usually happens. Some people have a freak accident, car accident, or someone killed them. That's usually how people die. People don't get old and one day they get so old they, can't live no more and die. No. People get sick and die. Or people kill them. That's usually how it works. Or they'll have an accident. Car accident, something like that. Or they get murdered. That's how people die. But regardless of how people die in your family, how do you deal with that? That's very, very important topic. It's something that I've had to deal with because my parents and my grandparents have passed away the last 6 years. Everybody. My parents and grandparents. I've had friends passed away that I went to high school with and college with. I've had just people, a lot of people I'm close with passed away, got sick, got cancer. One where was a diabetic, and so it's hard, man. Yeah, I haven't really. I'm still working on it, to be honest. There's no one shoe fits all type strategy formula to deal with death with your loved ones, people that you care about. I think it's a to day type thing. It's a grieving process, of course. I just always think about the good times that we had. I always keep that in mind. And when the holidays come up, like Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's Eve and all that stuff is coming up, that's when it gets really hard for me personally. Because I'm a family guy. I like being around my friends and family. That means a lot to me, being around my friends and family. And see, every Thanksgiving for the past 20 years, no, actually 30 years, I went home. I always went to my parents' house for Thanksgiving. I think I missed 2 Thanksgivings in 30 years. And now, last Thanksgiving, they weren't here. My parents were gone. So when I go back home, it's just an empty house. There's nobody there. So it's kind of sad. And when the holidays come up, like this holiday come up, I don't even really know what to do. Really. I mean, some people say, hey, go to your sister's house, your friend's house, your brother's house. Yeah, I do go. But it's still not the same. It's not the same versus going to your parents' house on Thanksgiving or having your parents come to your house on Thanksgiving. It's just not the same. And I've talked to people about this because I have a friend. His dad died his dad been dead for about 10 years now. And he said, I asked him, I said, yo, man, how do you deal with it? He was like, man, you don't really ever get over it. Really, you don't. You just find a way to move forward. And he said, during the holidays, or whenever he go to his parents' house, because his mom is still living, um, in his mind, he thinks when he pulls up at his dad's house, at his parents' house, in his mind, he thinks that his dad is gonna be in the yard doing something with the flowers, attending to the garden, because that's what used to happen. His dad was always outside doing something with flowers and attending to the garden. So he said every time he goes to his parents' house, he kind of it starts all over again. It's playing all over again in his mind. His dad is going to be outside in the yard with the flowers, but that's not the case because he passed away. But so he said basically every time he go visit his mom, everything starts all over again, and it makes him sad because his dad is not here anymore. So I don't think you ever really get over it. I think everyone has to find their own way to deal with it. But just think about all the good times, that you've had with your parents and the people that you care about the most. And if your parents and your grandparents are still living, or maybe you have people around you that you really care about, don't take the time for granted. Don't take them for granted. Spend as much time as you can with them, even if it's overnight or one day. Because a lot of people, including myself, I kind of took some of the things, I took the time for granted. Because the thing about my family is people in my family live to be so old. My grandmother lived to be 102. And my mom died, she was 83. And my dad died, he was about 88. So they lived to be so old. And even my uncles, they still in the 70s and 80s. So people live to be so old in my family, that kind of made me take it for granted. I never really thought about them dying, even though that's a reality we all have to face. We all have to go someday. But it's kind of like, I just never thought about it until it happened. And when it did happen, it was like a mind-blowing experience. It's something that you can't really explain to anybody. And if you haven't had anyone in your family that passed away, you can't really relate. You can't really relate to it. You can't. I thought I understood what it means when someone had a parent that dies. But the reality is I didn't really get it until it happened to me. And when it happens, it's like you just feel like helpless. You want to do something, but you can't do anything. You can't bring them back. All you can do is sit there. And if you go to the funeral, or like if you go to the funeral or they're in the casket, or whatever type of ceremony they have, all you can do is just sit there and just observe. Or like my mom, for example, she was in hospice. She was in hospice for 2 weeks, laying down in the bed in a coma. And there's nothing I could do about it. So I visited my mom every day for 2 weeks, knowing that she was going to die. I don't know what's worse. I don't know if a sudden death is worse, or a slow death is worse. I mean, I'm sitting there for 2 weeks. I'm staying there. I stayed there 2, 3 nights. I visited there every day for 2 weeks. Knowing that she was going to die, I couldn't do anything about it. You just feel helpless. You feel like I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe she was leaving. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to handle it. So it's like something I deal with every day, man. Every day. I just take it one day at a time, man. That's it, man. I just think about the good times. And but during the holidays it's kind of tough. It is. You know, it's really kind of tough. I think everyone has to find their own way how they're gonna deal with it. But don't be by yourself during the holidays. Don't do that. Be around people, your friends, your family, your brothers, your sisters, if you got them, or people that you care about, people that care about you too. You know. Now, some people might say, I ain't got no brothers and sisters. Well, you got somebody. Your aunt, uncle. Go to somebody's house. Don't be by yourself. If your parents and your grandparents have passed away, don't do that. That makes it worse, in my opinion. Be around people that support you, that understand you, that know who you are. You know? So that's pretty much how I deal with it. You know, I'm still dealing with it. There's no one way to really deal with it. It's a process in a nutshell, you know. So hey man, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, share this video, subscribe to my channel, check out my blog, chooseyourrelationships.com. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.